All right, so you're here because you really want to get rock music. Not just the hits, but like the whole journey.
The whole story.
Yeah, think of this deep dive as like your backstage pass
Okay.
to how rock, began and changed the world and keeps on going. And get ready for some aha moments because did you know that rock's family tree has branches like punk, glam, A&D grunge?
Yeah, it's really fascinating because rock's origins aren't this pure isolated thing.
Yeah.
It's like 1950s America. We're
Hmm.
blending blues,
Uh,
rhythm and blues, even a touch of country, all these sounds hitting the ears of a generation bursting with post-war energy.
It's like the perfect storm brewing, right? You got all this youthful energy
In fact, yeah.
looking for an outlet, and then suddenly here comes Chuck Berry with
Yeah.
those electrifying guitar riffs. And then Elvis enters the building shaking things up, and Little Richard brings that raw energy
Sort of,
that just blows the roof off. This wasn't just music, it was a statement.
Absolutely a statement, loud and clear.
Yeah.
That driving backbeat, the wailing guitars, and lyrics that were not afraid to push the envelope. These pioneers weren't just playing notes. They were challenging norms, and the world couldn't help but take notice.
And then, boom, the British invasion hits in the 1960s. The Beatles, the Stones, the Who, they didn't just cross the pond, they took over. It wasn't just about the music anymore, was it?
No, not at all. I mean, think about it. If you were used to your parents' music, and then you see these guys with their haircuts and clothes,
Right.
and you hear their sound, it's like a cultural shockwave, impacting everything from fashion to attitudes.
Even politics?
Yeah, even politics, how young people saw the world.
Huh.
This new rock was more than just sound. It was an attitude.
Okay, so we've got this rock and roll foundation, but it doesn't stay put. It's the 60s, and things get psychedelic. We're talking Jimi Hendrix bending notes till they scream.
Oh, yeah.
The Doors exploring those dark poetic vibes. This wasn't just music, it was an experience, right?
It was an experience. And it's this constant evolution that's so crucial to rock's power. It never gets complacent. And then the 70s roar in. We're not just turning up the volume with Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple, but we're also seeing these offshoots, taking this energy in totally new directions.
Yeah, it's like a sonic explosion. You've got punk rock, raw, stripped down, angry. The Ramones are all about that energy, while the Sex Pistols are practically spitting in the face of the establishment. It's rebellion distilled into music.
Pure rebellion. And then there's prog rock. Bands like Pink Floyd,
Yes.
they're getting experimental, taking you on these epic sonic journeys,
Oh.
weaving in philosophical themes. It just shows how much creative space rock opened up.
This is mind-blowing. So we've gone from these rebellious roots to this full-blown cultural phenomenon that's constantly changing. Did anyone see that coming?
It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. It's like rock tapped into something primal, this urge to break free, to question everything. And that energy just kept spilling over into new forms. The 80s hit. And we're not just rocking. We're putting on a show. Glam rock explodes with these larger-than-life personalities.
Oh, yeah.
Bowie and Queen, all glitter and theatrics, and then heavy metal comes crashing in.
Yeah.
Metallica, Iron Maiden, all that raw power and aggression. A force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and it wasn't all about volume and spectacle. You had alternative rock. Bands like REM and the Smiths, exploring a more introspective side,
Right.
a more melancholic side. It's amazing how rock could encompass such a range of emotions.
Absolutely. And as we roll into the 90s, you see grunge taking center stage.
Yeah.
Nirvana, Pearl Jam, tapping into the angst and disillusionment of a new generation.
Yeah.
It was raw, honest, and it spoke to a lot of people who felt like they didn't quite fit in.
Right.
At the same time, Britpop, with bands like Oasis and Blur, brought back that classic British rock sound, reminding everyone of the power of those catchy melodies and a rebellious spirit.
And amidst all of that, you have indie rock continuing to thrive. Bands like Arctic Monkeys and The Strokes championed a DIY approach, proving that you didn't need a major label to make great music. It just goes to show how rock constantly reinvents itself, staying relevant across generations. But let's step back for a moment. It's not just about the evolution of sounds and subgenres, is it? What is it about rock that makes it such a powerful experience?
You hit the nail on the head. You're at a rock concert. The lights are flashing. The music is pulsing through you. The crowd is surging with energy. It's more than just listening. It's feeling it in your soul.
It's true, you can have a favorite rock song you listen to on headphones, but it's not the same as experiencing it live.
Not at all.
It's that shared energy, the connection with the band and the crowd that makes it so electrifying.
Exactly. And let's not forget the sonic elements that create that signature rock sound. Those driving guitars, often distorted and amplified to create a wall of sound.
Yeah.
The pulsating bass lines that anchor the rhythm. The thunderous drums driving everything forward. And of course the vocals, whether they're soaring or gritty, full of angst, conveying a raw emotion that connects with listeners on a visceral level.
And the lyrics, right, they often delve into those universal themes: rebellion, love, social issues, personal struggles. They give voice to the things we all feel, but sometimes struggle to
Well,
articulate.
rock lyrics can be anthems of defiance, heartfelt expressions of love and loss, or searing critiques of society. They tap into those shared human experiences, those emotions that resonate across generations. But rock's influence goes way beyond the music itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's been intertwined with social movements, fashion, lifestyle, even politics. Think about the anti-war protests of the 60s. Rock music became the soundtrack for a generation demanding change.
Right.
And punk rock in the 70s, with its DIY ethos and anti-establishment message, challenged the status quo and gave a voice to the disenfranchised.
It's fascinating how rock music could both reflect and shape culture. Think about the iconic fashion associated with rock. Leather jackets, band t-shirts, ripped jeans. These became symbols of rebellion and self-expression, a way to visually align yourself with a certain tribe or attitude.
And rock's influence even spilled over into other musical genres. You hear elements of rock and pop, hip-hop, even electronic music. It's like it became this wellspring of creative energy that keeps flowing into new forms.
And technology has played a crucial role in rock's continued evolution. With the rise of digital recording and online platforms, it's become easier for artists to create and share their music. Independent artists can bypass the traditional gatekeepers and reach a global audience.
So looking ahead, where do you see rock music going? Do you think it can maintain its relevance in a world that's constantly bombarded with new sounds and trends?
Oh, I think rock has a bright future. Maybe brighter than some might think. It's all about adaptation. We've gone from those raw beginnings to stadium-filling spectacles, introspective ballads, everything in between. That spirit of pushing boundaries, of finding new ways to express that raw emotion and energy, that's rock's essence.
Yeah.
And that's not going away.
Yeah, it's like as long as there are people who want to crank up the volume, let loose, connect with that raw, unfiltered sound, there'll be rock music. I mean, new bands are popping up all the time, blending genres, experimenting with new technologies, finding their own voice within that rock tradition.
And that's the key. Rock isn't a museum piece. It's this living, breathing thing that keeps evolving. Think about how rock has always reflected the times it was born into. The rebellious spirit of the 50s, the social upheaval of the 60s and 70s, the anxieties and uncertainties of more recent decades. Rock has always provided a soundtrack for those feelings.
So if we were to take a wild guess, what might the next T chapter of rock sound like? What issues will it tackle? Will it be a fusion of genres we haven't even imagined yet? What role will technology play?
Well, it's exciting to think about, isn't it? I mean, we've seen how rock has embraced everything from electronic elements to orchestral arrangements. Maybe the next evolution will be about finding new ways to connect with audiences, creating these immersive experiences that blur the lines between performer and listener.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a return to that stripped down, raw energy of early rock,
Right.
but with a modern twist. Or perhaps it'll be something completely unexpected, something that challenges our very definition of what rock music can be.
And that's the beauty of it. We can speculate all we want,
Mm.
but ultimately rock's future is in the hands of the next generation of artists. Those who are willing to push boundaries, to experiment, to channel their own unique experiences and perspectives into music that resonates with the world.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from those rebellious roots to the global phenomenon rock became, the countless subgenres, the cultural impact, the sheer power of the music itself. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. And remember, this is just the beginning. We encourage you to explore the artists and subgenres we've discussed. Dig deeper into the history and evolution of rock music. Pay attention to those new sounds emerging around you.
Who knows? You might be the one to discover the next big thing in rock. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep listening, keep exploring, and keep rocking.